All right, let's get right into it. For thousands of homeowners, especially out in Northern Virginia, there's a problem lurking just a few feet underground. And it's the kind of problem that can go from a tiny annoyance to an absolute financial nightmare in the blink of an eye. In this explainer, we are pulling back the curtain on a very common but potentially devastating issue that anyone living in an older home really needs to know about. Just imagine this for a second. You move into your dream home, you're barely unpacked, and 2 months later, you get handed a sewer repair bill for $150,000. No, that is not a typo. This is a real story from a homeowner in Fairfax. And this staggering number came from a hidden problem that was just waiting to blow. It really highlights the huge stakes we're talking about today.
So what in the world could cause that much damage? What's the culprit? Well, it's an old, forgotten building material. Something that was once a builder's best friend, but is now, for anyone who still has it, basically a ticking time bomb. Let me introduce you to Orangeburg pipe. Now it's not plastic, and it's not metal. It's basically wood pulp and tar. Seriously, think of a really thick, heavy-duty paper towel tube that's been soaked in tar. Now, what do you think happens when you bury that in wet, shifting soil for over 60 years? Yeah, you can probably guess. It gets soft, it starts to bend and deform, and eventually, it just completely falls apart.
You know, right after World War II, this stuff was a game changer. Metal was scarce, so this cheap, lightweight alternative was perfect for the housing booms of the 50s and 60s, especially across Northern Virginia. But by the 1970s, the party was over. The failures were so common and so catastrophic that it was banned from building codes. But here's the real kicker. This pipe was only ever designed to last about 50 years. So any of it that's still in the ground today, it's living on borrowed time. And that brings us to right now, and why we're calling this an Orangeburg time bomb. For these pipes, failure isn't a matter of if it's going to happen, it's just a matter of when. So let's break down exactly what happens when that time bomb goes off. And oh boy, when it fails in some pretty spectacular ways. Under the weight of the soil, it can literally get squashed flat like a pancake, blocking everything. Tree roots, they see this stuff as a super easy target, punching right through the soft material and creating huge clogs. And as the inside starts to peel and sag, you get constant backups. But this isn't just a simple plumbing problem. We're talking about leaking raw sewage, which is a major health hazard. It can even wash away the soil supporting your home's foundation, creating sinkholes. So, how do you know if you're sitting on top of one of these things? Well, chances are your house is already giving you some clues. You just have to play detective and know what to look for. The first and biggest clue is slow drains everywhere. I'm not talking about just one slow sink. If your toilets, your showers, and your sinks are all draining slowly, that's a massive red flag for a blockage in the main line. You know that weird gurgling sound the toilet makes when the washing machine is draining? That's a classic sign that the line is blocked and air is being forced back up. Clue number 2 is even simpler. Just use your nose. If you're smelling that unmistakable rotten egg sewer odor in your yard or down in your basement, please don't ignore it. That's a sure sign that the pipe has been breached and nasty sewer gas is leaking out. Period. And finally, just take a good look at your lawn. A leaking sewer pipe is basically a slow-release fertilizer strip. So if you see one patch of grass that's way greener and lusher than the rest of the yard, running in a line from your house to the street, something's up. You might also notice the ground is starting to dip or sink in that same area as water erodes the soil underneath.
Now, these clues are great, but they're not 100% definitive proof. If you really want to solve this mystery, if you want to know for sure what's going on down there is one foolproof way to get a clear answer.
It's called a sewer camera inspection, and it's actually really cool. A plumber feeds a small, high-definition camera on a long, flexible rod down into your sewer line. And the best part is, you get to watch the whole journey on a monitor in real time. You see exactly what they see. There's no guesswork. You'll know instantly if it's Orangeburg, if there are roots, or if it's starting to collapse. And you don't just have to take my word for it. As Dennis Rollins from Veteran Plumbing Services, who deals with this all the time, says, without a camera, you're flying blind. With one, you get a clear visual diagnosis. It takes you from a nervous suspicion to absolute certainty. Okay, so what happens if the camera shows the worst-case scenario? You've got Orangeburg pipe. Well, the good news is we are not living in the 1950s anymore. The solutions today are incredible, and they are permanent. You've basically got two choices. The old school method is traditional excavation, which is exactly what it sounds like, a giant trench across your beautiful yard. It works, but say goodbye to your landscaping. But the modern way, trenchless pipe bursting, is an absolute game changer. They dig two small holes, one on each end of the pipe, and then they literally pull a brand new, super strong pipe right through the old one, bursting the old Orangeburg pipe out of the way. Your yard, your trees, your driveway, they're all saved. And just look at the difference in the materials they're using now. With Orangeburg, you were lucky if you got 50 years. Modern PVC, or the HDPE pipe that use in pipe bursting, is engineered to last for over 100 years. This is a fix-it-once and truly forget-about-it kind of solution. And all of this brings us to the final, critical choice that every owner of an older home faces. Are you going to be proactive and deal with this now, or are you going to wait for the disaster to strike?
I mean, this table really lays it all out in black and white. A planned replacement is a controlled cost. An emergency failure, though, when you've got sewage in your basement, that cost can easily double or even triple. And it's not just about money, it's about control. When you plan it, you choose the contractor, you choose the timing. When it's an emergency, the disaster chooses for you. And maybe the most important line on this slide is that last one. Standard homeowners insurance does not pay to replace a failed pipe. That cost is 100% on you. This quote just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? You can pay for this once on your own terms, or you can pay for it later with a whole lot more mess, stress, and money attached. It really is an investment now to prevent a catastrophe down the road. So here's the bottom line. From the foundation of your house all the way to the street, that sewer line is your responsibility. The technology exists to see exactly what's down there and replace it with minimal disruption. The only question left is, are you going to solve the mystery now before it becomes a very messy and very, very expensive disaster?
All right, let's get right into it. For